Alright class, so we're going to begin on our royalty portraits. You are going to be using black tempera paint to draw instead of marker and instead of pencil. And you're going to have a choice between two different paint brushes. We have one that's a little bit thicker, it's called a round brush, and then we also have a round brush that is a little thinner. So you're going to do what you're comfortable with. You are going to be practicing your brush strokes first on the brown paper. Mine's blue, but yours is brown next to your white paper. So that way you feel confident, you feel ready to work. And what I mean by practicing is you can dip in the paint with your brush. Notice how I loaded it up, but I didn't go all the way to the silver. Okay, I kind of kept it just on the bristles. And then on the side, let me move this over a little bit. On the side, what I'm doing is I'm kind of tickling the paper with my paintbrush. So I'm not pressing down so hard to see kind of what it's like to make a thin line. And then you can also do maybe push down a little bit, and I'm not pushing straight down. I'm using it at an angle, and then I'm pushing down kind of at the toe of the paintbrush, and then I'm moving it across my page. You can see how it's the width of the paintbrush when you're pushing it down. So this is a really good way for you to practice control for your paintbrush. I'll do it one more time for you. Okay, I would do a few thin lines, maybe even do different directions, because you're going to be doing, you know, like rounded lines as well as straight lines. So definitely good to practice all different lines. Okay, so take a few moments, practice on the side of your page. I'll show you what it looks like with the thin brush so you can make a good decision on which one that you want to use. If you see here, I actually have a little bit more control with the thicker brush. I get thinner lines, but you might not be quite there yet. So if you want to use this brush here, that's perfectly fine. I also watered down the black for you, so that way it moves across the page a lot nicer than if you had very thick black paint. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use this brush here, the bigger round brush. At your table, you have an image that's like this, kind of like a step-by-step of how to do a portrait. Okay, and you also have some ideas of how to do your crown. Now, again, these are just ideas. I would love for you to kind of look at all of them and make up your own. Really, just the bigger thing is when we start, we're going to start with a curve and come up on both sides. And then you can do whatever kind of cool decorations at the top. We'll actually leave that to the end. This here shows kind of doing the crown first, but we'll just do step 1, step 2, and then go straight to the face, the neck, and the shoulders. And then that way, when it comes time to do the crown, the video will be over and you can do whatever it is that you want to do. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start with this large piece of paper. It's 12 by 18. I'm going to put the black to the side so it's not in the way. And we're going to dip into the brush, wipe on the side, right? We're not tapping because it's going to splatter. So you dip, you wipe, and you're going to start with a curved line, not like a huge rainbow, okay? But I'm going to do a curved line that's taking up a good amount of space on my paper. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to curve it. Notice how I'm giving myself space for that crown, okay? And the bottom of my paper is all the way down here. It just doesn't all fit on the screen. And then I'm going to come up at a diagonal here, and I'm going to come up at a diagonal here. You'll see that if you rest your hand on the paper as you're doing it with the paint, your hand is going to smudge the paint around. So just what I like to do is I like to kind of use my pinky. My pinky is touching the paper kind of as bracing it, so I'm not super duper shaky, and I can move around with my pinky on the paper rather than my whole entire arm. That's kind of a painting trick for you there. Now we're going to do the letter U, and I'm going to say the letter U is going to come down maybe halfway between the crown and the bottom of my page. Okay, this is going to be where the chin is. So I'm going to give myself a little dot so I know really to reach down there. We don't want a super small face. And I'm going to start a little bit inside my crown, come all the way down, okay, and then come back up. Anything that you guys don't like, it's okay if you make a mistake. Like let's say you wanted to do it a little bit wider here. Go go ahead, fix what you have, because we're going to be using paint to go on top of this stuff, which should at least a little bit go over your black paint. So don't worry about making those mistakes. Now we're going to do our neck and our shoulders. So I'm going to make a mark on either side of my chin, and I'm going to kind of come down and make like a letter L, and then a backwards L, or maybe even a J, right? Looks like the letter J. And then my shoulder is going to come out to my side and curve down. So notice how I'm giving myself definitely some space here for us to do some really cool decoration with clothes and, you know, different things like that on your royal portrait. Okay, so now we are going to think about where we want our eyes. So the face is really cool in that it's very, I want to say geometric, although I don't think that's the perfect term. But for example, from the top of your head to the bottom of the chin, right about halfway is where your eyes are going to fall. So I'm just going to put a dot on one side and on the other side, because I know I want my eyes to go there. I know it looks a little funny right now. And then halfway from your eyes to your chin is where your bottom of your nose is going to be. And then halfway from your bottom of your nose to your chin is, you got it, the lips. Okay, so it's very cool how it's split up like that. So we're going to make it kind of simple. And I'm going to do a rainbow shape above and the letter U shape below. I'm making them kind of big, but remember, these are not realistic portraits. They're more like illustrations. Think of playing cards. They definitely don't look like real people. They're more like cartoon versions. So don't worry about it being perfect. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing over here, the same thing below. I'm going to give it a circle on the inside, but my circle is going to touch the bottom and touch the top. I'm not listening to my own rule, you guys. Look, I got paint all over me, but I'm okay with that. Okay, and then on the inside here, I'm going to go ahead and draw and go over that strange tiny little dot that I did with our pupil. Okay, I'm going to give myself an eyebrow. If you wanted to, you can give yourself some eyelashes. I wouldn't do all of them, but maybe just some detail for eyelashes. And yes, boys have eyelashes too, so it doesn't have to be just a girl thing. And now let's do the nose. So for the nose, we'll keep it simple as well. Again, it's going to be halfway between the middle of the eyes and the chin, so just roughly about here. And I'm going to do like a kind of like a diagonal letter L. You can do a J, it doesn't matter what direction you go in. Okay, and I'm even going to give, you can keep it just like that if you like it. If you want to give yourself like a little nostril on one side, okay, maybe you even want to give yourself like, you know, I have a little freckle on my nose, so I'm going to give myself, you know, a little dot there. You personalize it how you want it. Now, again, bottom of the nose to the bottom of the chin is where your lips are going to go. Now, you guys, you know what you look like. If you have, you know, thinner lips or wider lips, if it comes out further, if you have a nice big smile, okay, you make your lips as wide or as big as you want them, or as small and thin as you want them. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and draw a smile line. And then I'm going to make my lips do like a letter M above it. You can make it pointy, you can make it more rounded. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and round mine off. I don't know what word I just said. And then below it, I'm going to do the letter U. If you want, you can keep your mouth closed like that. If you wanted an open mouth, it would be, you know, here's your smile line. And then you have, you know, your lip above and your lip below. And if you want your mouth open, you would do another line underneath, so it looks like maybe your teeth would be here, although I wouldn't actually put the lines for your teeth because it would look really scary and a little strange. Okay, so awesome. So now we have kind of the base for where we would then do our hair, okay, and we would do our clothes and our crown. The one thing I want to say about the crown, and we'll get to it a little later, I'll do a whole other video how to decorate the for your clothes and how to do your crown. But when you guys get to your crown, notice how the ones that are open show some hair above, right? It doesn't just show the crown like this, because that would look a little odd. Okay, there is part of a head that comes above. So I just want you to think about that. But first, let's talk about hair. Okay, I'm going to turn my paper over so I can show you some examples. We've done this before, so this is really just a reminder, okay? But, you know, the top of our head is not our hair. So if I have, you know, a U shape, this is all different hairstyles, okay? And here's my crown. Okay, some of you guys might have like a side or like a part coming down the middle of your hair, so you would create kind of like an upside down triangle, okay, coming from your crown, right? This is coming up from my crown. Some of you guys might have more like a side swoop, right? Sometimes a lot of the boys have hair that kind of looks like this. Notice how I'm not coloring anything in, right? We're going to do that with actual different color paint, so don't fill anything in with black. Okay, some of you guys might have bangs that are coming down, okay, straight across your head, or maybe a little bit rough on the edge. Whatever it is that you have, start off with what your hairline in the front looks like. Okay, if you have braids in your hair, okay, you can kind of keep it just here. I'll do it down here. Depending on if you still have it going to the side or a middle part. Okay, if you have braids in your hair, then what you can do is kind of give yourself some stripes, so that then you can do this kind of cool crisscross. And I'm really barely touching the paper with my brush, so that way I can do that detail. Let's say you do your crown. Okay, that's, you know, a pretty lazy crown. I would do more to it, okay, more detail, and you have the top of the head showing. Now you have to think about, well, is your hair short? Is it long? Is it curly? Is it straight? Okay, if it's short, you would have your hair coming from this outside part of the crown, and then you stop wherever your hair length stops. So if it's below your ears, if it's about your chin, so if it's chin length, then you can stop here. If it goes longer than that, then you're going to stop when it touches your shoulder, so it looks like it's going behind. Okay, if it's straight, just keep it how it is right now. Don't do any lines in the middle. Okay, if it's curly, okay, then what I would do is the same thing. Start from the outside of that crown, and then kind of give yourself like little waves. Okay, short, you stop here. If it's longer, then you go all the way to your shoulder. If you want to do a ponytail, let's say, okay, what I would do is, again, start from one side, but then here maybe do the ponytail holder, and then you have your hair coming down to the side of your head. For boys, if you have short hair that's above your ears, if this is your crown, and this is your head coming above your crown, you do whatever the hairline looks like if you have the swoop to the side. Okay, and then what I would just do is from the crown line, just connect it to your head. I also realized as I was doing that, I forgot one major thing about a face. Yeah, exactly. We got the ears here. So the ears go from where the eye line is all the way down to where the nose line is, okay? And you're just doing this kind of semicircle, or like the letter C or backwards letter C, however you want to think about it. So I'm going to give myself a little mark. I'm going to come up, come down. If you want to give yourself jewelry, give yourself jewelry. Okay, think of that, you know, you're going to be royalty, so you really want to jazz up your portraits. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do my hair as you guys are working on yours, and then I'll come around and help you guys out. And if you didn't do one of the steps, look at your options here. And I'm going to give myself curly hair because, well, I have curly hair. And I'm going to kind of go to the side. So notice how I'm kind of picking up my paintbrush every now and again. But I still want to give myself areas to paint. So if I only do kind of like this, I'm not actually giving myself an area. So I'm always touching the last curl on the outside. Once I'm here, and I'm going outside my ears. I want those earrings to show. Perfect. Okay, so you guys continue working. I'm going to go ahead and do a crown. I like that idea of having like a diamond in the middle. I think it's really pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and do a diamond shape on top. Remember, you're not filling anything in, so make it all shapes. We're not coloring our shapes in. I'm going to do a circle in the middle, and then maybe underneath we'll do a circle. Okay. So I'm just thinking kind of geometric. I like the idea of starting in the middle and working my way out, so I keep it somewhat symmetrical. Once you do the crown, don't forget to do the top of your head. Mine's curly, so I'm kind of keeping it curly. And I'm doing it rounded. And every time I touch part of my crown, I'm no longer painting. So I'm pretending like I'm going through this part, but I'm actually picking up my paintbrush and continuing it over here. So you see how it looks like the crown is on my head, not kind of sitting on top. All right, so I'm going to come around and help you out, and then we'll do the clothes next.